Some of the names that you were looking out for and were impressed by.
Yeah, it's interesting. Some guys didn't show up, right?
Right.
Mozzie Smith from Michigan, I was looking forward to hearing from him, and he didn't make it to the room. But there's always guys, and I think it's just, I don't want to mess up any names, but Nolan Smith from Georgia. He feels like an undersized defensive end, but I believe Jim Schwartz has the flexibility in his scheme and what he's looking for, that if the Browns love this guy, they could put him opposite Myles Garrett, like we talked about, maybe in a rotation, and let him rush the passer. And I'll tell you what, there's guys every year, because there's 300 guys who talk, that just blow you away with their interviews, and he was one of them. I couldn't leave. I just happened to stop by and see him, and I couldn't leave. He went from laughing. He criticized people that transferred and said, if you're married, you don't transfer after 10 years when things go bad. And then he got emotional, talking about the death of his teammates at Georgia. And then he talked about Jalen Carter, who had the big issues today, and how misunderstood he is. So he was the guy that I was really impressed with from an interview standpoint, and I think he's also a player. And then, I talked to the Northwestern guy. He's a D tackle, kind of undersized. And I don't want to butcher his name, so I'm looking at it here, but it's Aditomi Wa Adibara. I went to Northwestern, so I've watched him a lot, and he feels like a guy, again, can the Browns find a spot for him? I think he's a second or third round pick. He's a middle round guy, has some sack production, has played end and tackle. Another good interview. But there's a lot of guys, and it's tough when you don't pick the 42, right?
Right.
It's just, you could throw a blanket over about 30 guys and go, well, I can see the Browns landing with any of these guys. It could be a giant defensive tackle. It could be an undersized guy, right? There's just so many, I think, possibilities.